All right. Well, I would like to welcome everyone to our fourth quarter Sister City Advisory Committee meeting for 2019. And we have a quorum, which is good to see. Thank you. So, Elaine, would you like to call the roll, please?
Thank you. Mr. Albin? Ms. Horvath?
Present.
Ms. Means?
Present.
Ms. Sally Greider?
Present.
Mayor Riggle?
Here.
Vice Chairwoman Rush? And Chairman Giebert.
Here. So, should we have a motion to excuse Daryl and Colleen?
Yep. Colleen's in Ireland.
Right.
Come in.
And
Hi,
Daryl
Diane.
was out of town also.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah, come on
come
in,
on in.
Diane. We have to look formal, but we try not to be, but we look at.
Did you get a second?
I'll
Do we
second.
have a second?
I'll
We-
second.
we have a
Okay, thank you.
motion?
Or-
I move we excuse our absences.
Okay, and second. Okay. Ms. Horvath?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Ms. Sally Greider?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
Chairman Giebert.
Yes.
Thank you.
So next order of business here is the approval of the motion summary for the meeting we had in April. We didn't have a meeting in July because we didn't have a quorum. We did meet here and in fact did accomplish some things, but we didn't really have an official meeting. So we're approving the minutes from April 9th. Are there any changes or comments on the minutes? Is there a motion to approve them?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Julia. Okay.
Ms. Horvath?
Yes.
Ms. Means?
Yes.
Ms. Sally Greider?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
Chairman Giebert.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. We have public comments here, and I would like to welcome Tim and Diane to our meeting. Thanks for coming out. So, do you have are there comments that you would like to make? We're going to talk a little bit about the school art exchange in just a minute, so. Okay.
You're not used to actually having a quorum. Chairman Giebert, I did want to take a minute and introduce our
Oh,
new
yes.
Assistant City Manager, Kyle
Thank you.
Kreidler.
I forgot that Kyle was sitting over here because he
And
wasn't in front of me, so.
Kyle
yeah.
comes from Dublin and actually has some Sister City experience,
Oh,
so
excellent.
go ahead and.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you, Kyle.
I appreciate the invitation and the introduction. As Elaine mentioned, I was involved. It was actually a Friendship City partnership between the city of Dublin and Mashiko Town, Japan, when I was in the city manager's office. Then later on, they added Dublin, Ireland as a Friendship City as well. So have some experience coordinating delegation visits and most recently a little engagement with Paraguay. So
Okay.
just love to be a part of the international relations, and it's fun.
Yeah. Welcome to Delaware.
Thank you.
My sister lives in Dublin, and so my nieces went to Dublin Kaufman High
Oh,
School.
yeah.
So.
Great school.
Well, welcome to Delaware.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Just on the subject of Paraguay, I'm very sorry that I wasn't able to be here for the dedication of the Hayes statue on Friday night. And it's been suggested in the past that maybe we should have a sister city in Paraguay. I don't know how
They already have one picked out.
they do.
Yes, they do.
Paraguay has one picked for us.
For us, yes. Let me, I know we're not going in order here, so I'm just gonna jump right in here.
Let's deal with that now, because I think
Okay.
it's fine.
So, in Paraguay, when President Hayes was in office, they had just come off of a war between Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay, trying to take 60% of Paraguay's land. So they reached out to President Hayes, who was a very, very intelligent man, and they had agreed whatever decision he made, that territory would go to that country. Well, he sided with Paraguay. So they kept all their land. Brazil had to move back out, and so did Argentina. So in Paraguay, our President Hayes is a hero. There are statues everywhere. There are states named after him, soccer teams, high schools, hospitals, everything. So they were when I was in DC to get the award that the city received for the best neighborhood in the United States, we set up a visit with the Paraguay ambassador there, and then he came here with the delegation to our ceremony last Friday night. So spending time with them, they want this connection with Delaware. They have one with Fremont, Ohio already, because there's a museum there for Hayes. So they're very interested in building on something with us. So they've chosen a city that's about 30,000 people. It's a little bit smaller than us, but so I'll need to, once we talk about it here, then of course we have to go through sending a letter to that mayor and, you know, the whole protocol, but they're very, very interested.
Okay.
Sounds exciting.
Well, interestingly enough, we have a Rotary exchange student from Granville in Paraguay this year.
Okay.
For a long time, we didn't exchange with Paraguay, with the country of Paraguay, but we do now, and Grady Libertini is in Paraguay. He's in Ciudad del Este, which is the second biggest city in Paraguay after Asunción, which is the capital. And it's actually, I don't know where our city is,
For
but
the southern part of it.
okay, that's where Ciudad del Este is too. It's near the big Iguazu Falls. You might have heard of that.
Yeah.
It's the biggest waterfall in the world. So, and there's a big dam there at Itapu. So that might be really something interesting to
Look into.
see.
They're gonna
I could give Grady a project to do while he's there.
There you go.
He could go visit the city
Yes.
for us.
And Elaine, I think you have some, a thumb drive, some information that they sent us about Paraguay. They told me they left it with you. Maybe not. Okay.
I will check with Kim because
Okay.
we may have confused the two of us.
Yes, maybe. Okay.
Okay, well, maybe this is something to check into.
Very much so.
Check into. Okay. Have we covered Paraguay for the time being?
Right now.
Okay. I would be interested in knowing which city this is if you find it out. If you drop, I'll try to
Yeah.
catch up on that, okay? Okay. So moving along here to item 4 on our agenda, update on Cicada. We've got two things going on really. We have the current art exhibit of the students that we're exchanging. And then something in the future is the Ken Domon exhibit. But right now, let's concentrate on the Dempsey art exhibit. And the art's been exchanged.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Correct. Diane Hodges brought some of the, I can't see you. I'm like, I can't see you, but.
Diane, you want to sit up there at the desk and show us some of that? Would that be a good time?
So, their art was,
Go ahead.
our art was sent out about the same time, so they have received our artwork. And obviously we received theirs, so it was really exciting to go through some of the pieces. Our artwork was amazing too. There were some pieces in there that, well, that one invitation that I sent out, that was actually one of our pieces that was drawn, which was just a template. But it was, and then I've also sent out the gift of the picture of the arts castle to my contact there for the mayor, and with a letter explaining what it was and who it was from. Did learn something very interesting through that process is Google Translate is not reliable. Do not use it. I had written a letter out, the mayor and I had worked on it, and then I tried it in Google Translate and sent it over just for review. And she said, nope, it loses all context, just send it in English, we'll translate it here. So, that was an interesting little fun fact I learned. So, couple things that we do need to talk about after we look at the art. We could do my part first, or we can look at the art if you wanna see it. But we do have a VIP event that we need to start planning. That's gonna be the day before the grand open, or the opening, so it's on a Sunday. December 1st. That's kind of where I had sent like the templates for the invitations, just to get an idea of what you guys are wanting. We had decided that we should probably put a piece of the Sakata art on the, I know I need to change the title of it. I just whipped these up really quick and I just wanted more for you to look at. Do you like this? Is anybody else able to do it better than me? Because I have no, like, I'm not insulted in any ways, but I would think that we should get these out before the end of the month to whoever we're inviting. That gives just a month's notice. So that's why I kinda wanted to get moving on that. And then we need to decide what time we're having the event at. So again, I just threw a 6 PM on there, but that was just so you could see what it could look like. So if that's something we can discuss,
Okay.
with the Arts Castle being here.
Did we ever form a little group to work out all the little details about this
Well,
event?
we have kind of our little Sakata group, which I believe is, Hugh, Julie Means, Daryl is probably on that one, back when you were separating groups up.
Yeah, I thought when we were together over there in the,
Mhm.
this was a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
that we were gonna have another little meeting. Did I forget something?
We need to do something like that.
That would suit me
I've been
better than to
include-
try to,
Well, I've been including Julie Horvath a lot in the communications since she's the school rep so whoever wants to be part of it, but one thing we need to figure out is who we're inviting. I put a little bit of a guest list out, like who I think we should start with. I mean, they're basic, like no-brainer people, superintendent, the principals, the art teachers, you know, things, some of the business owners, things like that. JASCO,
Mhm.
people that have been involved in our Sister City program, obviously council, but, you know, we need to get that list set out. And then also, I kinda need like a food committee.
sure. I was wondering if we could like have a meeting, I know you've got the budget to work on, or, I don't, is it possible to have a little meeting like later this week or early next week?
We can try. I mean, I don't know if people have time during the day
I could
or-
come to that.
So,
Did you
So-
talk about finding sponsors too, possibly for the, reception as well?
Yeah, that was one thing I wanted to talk to Tom about. I haven't had a chance to talk to Tom. I've tried, but it hasn't been possible, so, cause we did talk about that too.
Mhm.
What do we need, like $1,000 or $1,500?
well, right now, we have so much money in the budget to do the matting. I've spent about 100. The shipping was not quite as expensive as
Oh,
I
good. How
thought
much
it was
was
gonna
it?
be.
Yeah.
About $70.
Oh, my.
Oh, that's
Jeez.
good.
But I had 2 shipments
Okay.
between the picture and the, artwork.
Mhm.
So, because I wanted to gauge about what it was gonna cost to do the art. So I think the first shipment was around 77. I have the receipts, so don't
Okay.
quote me on that price. So it really wasn't quite what I was afraid of.
Mhm.
And it just took about 10 days to get there. So I thought that was very
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's really.
reasonable.
Mhm.
So budget looking ahead, obviously the next year, we can add the shipment back, as a cost factor that we need to, do you know what I?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then, we did use some money to go to the luncheon, so that does deduct us down a little bit. So we probably would be helpful to get some sponsors unless council's willing to appropriate a little bit more money over, or however we can do it.
Well, let's maybe leave that for a little while
Right.
to see what we can do, okay?
But when we talk about like the food, that's something, there are ways to make it nice, but a little bit more affordable. Just depends what type of food you wanna serve. If you wanna do like wine and cheese, or, we had a dessert bar before where it was just little dessert pieces. That was actually pretty affordable with like punch. I mean, I don't know what you guys would normally do.
It depends on the time of day, really, when you're going to have it. I mean, if it's in the afternoon, you just could do, a tea or something like that. It's a little bit later on, wine and cheese. We talked about the fact that you can't get wine, so we
Right.
have to,
Right.
the
I-
Arts Castle.
I don't know what you all think about this, but I would be probably happy if we just had some light refreshments, not try to have a lot of food.
Mhm.
Because I think the main reason people are coming is to see the artwork and the people who made it happen.
Mhm.
So I think the food probably, I mean, if we have some nice food, but not very much, that would probably be good.
Also, I had recently my 60th birthday, and we had a foodsmith, and I did a vegan dinner, and it was superb. We did have some hors d'oeuvre. It was wonderful. It was just great. It was just, I can give you some pictures, and it was well received. And since this is anyway the way to go with the vegan, it could be something in addition, you know, to brighten a little bit and to map a little bit something out. And it was really delicious. I got really 100% thumbs up. And I can show you some pictures.
I'm a cream puff type of girl, so
I'm with you.
But, I mean, I think that's where if we can have an additional meeting, you
Yeah,
know,
I
it
think
doesn't
another
have to
meeting
be,
is-
I don't think
is-
it needs to be a formal meeting, just to kind of get an idea, and then kind of communicate like we have through email with the members that aren't able to come, because we need to kind of really get moving on some of this. An additional too would be a cost to do the printing. I think depending how nice we wanna, like, we could do cardstock even here. I don't know how they would print out, you know, but we could try something like that and then cut them, but
Mhm.
that's just thoughts we have to think about.
Should we try to schedule a meeting now, or do you wanna suggest something tomorrow, or?
Let's do it a little bit after, like, maybe after the meeting, kind of get together and talk. if
Cause
that-
I can come probably pretty much any time, so.
Okay. I mean, I would be available Friday, not Friday evening, but if anyone's available Friday during the day, I could be available. Anytime before that, it's kind of busy this week for me with, getting an agenda out. And then, next couple weeks, I have a lot of meetings
Yeah.
in the evenings.
Is Friday, could you come to a meeting on Friday, like at 10 o'clock in the morning?
I'd have to check on that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And we could
Um,
always call you in too if that
right.
works. but-
yeah. I mean, the receptions we have at the castle, you know, outside Castle Arts Affair, usually people, you know, you shouldn't plan for a lot, because they're there to see the artwork, and I'm assuming there's gonna
Yeah.
be some type of presentation, and then, you know, just, you know, a little bit of a meet and greet or whatever.
Yeah.
So, we usually do too much, actually.
Yeah, I think Gary DeCoker's coming, so at least I think you put that on his calendar, so I think
I
that's
did.
a
I gave
really
him a heads
nice
up.
thing, if Gary comes.
Yep, and that's where I feel like we just really need to get an idea. That's where I started that like that list of people that we should probably look at inviting. I think I included, I don't know who I included that on, to be honest, anymore.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that list, but
Okay.
anyhow,
Elaine, you had mentioned that, about the teachers being invited to the VIP. If we send it out to the teachers, we wanna probably put a side note in their invitation that there will be a student reception, you know,
And
in
that's fine,
January.
we don't have to, I wanna make sure they know that they're,
Sure, absolutely, but I'm just thinking, just in case they say anything to their students, we wanna make sure that they're aware that we're gonna have
right,
the student reception,
correct.
you know, in January, so that we don't have a different field of guests than what we're thinking of.
I agree, I understand, yeah. So basically, our biggest thing is we need to come up with a start time. And then we kinda can figure out,
I think a tea from 4 to 6 with light,
I'd vote for that.
dessert type options, because I think, you can do many things with dessert, be it from a vegan, gluten, or cream puff standpoint, to accommodate many different tastes and palates.
4 to 6 sounds good to me, I would vote for that. Are there other,
Is that long enough, 2 hours?
Well, what do you plan for this, as far as, is there going to be kind of a, you know, acknowledgement and?
that's kind of what I was
Meeting or
thinking.
what?
Well, I was thinking, I mean, the art's gonna be on display there, so there will be 5 weeks or 6 weeks for people to
Right.
actually come and see it.
Right.
I was thinking that this was more of like a kickoff event, where
Uh-huh.
people who were involved with this could get together, and
Mhm.
we could introduce this to some of the, maybe people in town who wouldn't otherwise maybe hear what went into this.
I'd invite the Gazette too, I mean, just so they could be there for, you know, just to get it out and promoting it as well.
Yeah, yeah. So I was thinking that, I mean, it would be good to get, if Gary is there, Gary DeCoker started this whole school exchange 25 years
Okay.
ago.
Mhm.
And if he comes, he gave a really nice talk when the Japanese people were here, 4 years ago. So he could be a program. Gary could be a program.
And I'm sure he would do it.
Yeah, I'm sure he would. So, and that would be a nice thing for people to hear from Gary.
Right, but,
So,
so he could talk a little bit about Cicada.
the history of Cicada,
Okay.
you know, what this is a nice evolution of things for, I think, for Gary.
Mm-hmm,
You know, to see this kind of flower, what he started with the school exchange, bringing those Japanese
Right.
students here. This is kind of an evolution of that, and I think that's something that kind of honors Gary.
okay. And then talk a little bit about the artwork. I don't know if we could do somehow a slide presentation of the artwork we sent over to, Cicada as far as the Delaware students' artwork, because, you know, that really complements what we have, what we'll have at the castle as well, that people aren't gonna get to see, I guess, until perhaps the spring.
Okay, well, maybe we could talk about that a little bit when we
Okay.
meet together, what
That's
sort of
fine.
possible
Just-
program, because, maybe we can clarify if Gary, or we could, you know, formally invite Gary to come. I mean, that might be
Mhm.
something we choose to do and make a program around that, and we can then put some other things
Mhm.
together,
Yeah.
so.
So one question, this is an invite-only event, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's kind of a VIP,
Okay.
And then there'll be, something in January where the students are invited to come as well, to see, you know, the Cicada
Or for the
artwork.
public as such?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
gonna be another thing.
Yeah, the
Diane
castle
had-
will take care of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Diane had sent out earlier today a copy of the press release that's
Yeah.
going to the press, so that was.
I hope that's all right, cause I already sent it to Columbus Monthly and CDC. Well, they need to know 2.5 months
Yeah,
ahead
no,
of
thank
time.
you.
Yeah.
So, you know, I sent some of the images too, it's accurate as far as I know.
Well, for the purposes of this meeting, can we carry this on Friday?
Yes, why don't we let
And
her
let
show
you
some
show
of
us
it?
the art, and I didn't welcome you, Paula, to the meeting.
That's
Yep,
all
this is
right.
Thank you
Paula
for
Watson.
coming.
She's our exhibits coordinator at the Arts Castle and really has been behind this whole thing as far as, you
Yeah,
know,
thank
working
you.
with the artwork and all. I just brought a few images. Paula has more, that, are on a,
One of our volunteers took some of the
Memory
pictures
card.
of the Cicada pieces.
yeah, cause these are just, I don't know what they, this is how they came. They must have been in some type of exhibit, but, and, you know, they're all numbered and most of them, it's interesting because, there's a lot of, these are just ones that, again, they had chosen, but there's a lot of cherry trees and outdoor scenes and mountains and, I think this was done by kindergartners. And it's all been translated too, so that's helpful. And this one's really neat.
Mm.
It's just torn paper into a paper collage. So
Yeah, they
they're-
were great, they had everything with a description, short description,
Mhm.
title piece, name of the student and or group of students.
Right.
So that's all said and done, will be easy to make tags to hang below each piece. And then,
And so what we'll have to do is we'll have to, I mean, the rest of it is, in, what, just like loose sleeves or something?
well, and basically this one is too, yeah, so most of them
Right.
are in a folder. And so then, this is where we were talking about how they will definitely have to be matted
Yeah, there'll be a
for
board.
better presentation.
What kind of board did you decide for the back?
So that one, we're gonna have to do a thin, mat, foam board and then a mat board,
Right,
and all within our price.
yeah, there's
Point of what we
41
already
pieces
described.
altogether, and, what we'll need is, around $600 to do the matting and all.
So they provided information similar to the spreadsheet you and I put together and.
They actually were more detailed than us, Julie.
We're very liberal with our title.
Yes, we had a nice spreadsheet, but they went above and beyond, so.
There you go.
Yes, so it was yes, very nice. As you can see, they even did a color inventory list, so that if we got confused, everything is tagged, and then they have a master inventory list for us with each little individual thumbnail. Lesson learned.
Yeah, next for the future.
How many pictures in all?
Sure enough.
41.
41, they sent to us and we sent them, what, 62? 61?
61, I think.
Okay, 61, yeah.
So, yes, we had a very simple spreadsheet, and as Elaine had said, that just very simple, but everything was numbered lightly on the back, because I didn't wanna, tag the kids' artwork too hard. And some pieces we had weren't even titled, so we made up our own titles. So,
But the 41 pieces, that should be enough to fill the castle too.
correct.
Nicely.
Because
So,
they're consistent in size for the
Mhm.
most part.
Yeah, so it'll be a nice exhibit.
Well, thank you very much for helping us with this. So, I think it's, I think it's a tribute in a way to what Gary envisioned, and it's one of the things, we have Japanese students coming here every year, and it was really nice that 5 of our students could go there back in, I think it was 2015 when they went, in the summer of 2015 or 14, maybe it was 2014. So, I mean, that's a privilege to be able to go to Japan and see something when you're a child like that. So, but this is some effort in that direction. So, thank
What
you.
kind of marketing do you want to do then? I mean, because we can do some from the castle, but what are you planning on doing, you know? from
Locally.
this- Yeah. Because I don't want to, you know,
We can do some social media marketing,
okay.
but again.
Yeah, we don't really have the resources. I mean, this committee, we've never done a
Right,
lot
yeah.
of marketing
No, I just
ourselves.
wanted to ask because, you know, we can do what we normally do.
We
as
can
far
ask
as
the schools to help market.
Mhm.
I think that's something they might be able to assist
Yeah.
with through.
And we have a list from the first Fridays.
Yes.
I'll pick that up also again, 30 plus people, so,
Mhm.
Well, there is the November first Friday,
Yeah.
which is the first, and that is, it's a pet walk, so it should be, weather permitting, pretty good attendance. So
Mhm.
if you wanted to look at, getting a more basic invitation going.
Or just a storefront
Yeah,
flyer
storefront.
made
Yeah, we
in
put-
quarter page, so that people are aware of the dates of the
We
exhibit.
put those around anyway for our exhibit, so we will be
Right.
doing that. Maybe we'll have
But
a
if-
couple of
but if-
pieces. Go ahead.
The board wanted to get a table and hand them out,
Mhm.
that's up, I can get a table reserved.
Mm.
I don't know if you want to do that.
So Sarah, our graphics artist, does a storefront flyer,
Okay.
so we can have her turn that into a quarter page
Does she wanna do the invitation?
printout. And, so that way you have those to hand out.
Okay.
She's
Of the
pretty,
same
she's
storefront
pretty busy
flyer.
right now with Castle Arts and
Okay.
all that. I
Yeah.
could ask, but.
No, I mean.
I don't know.
If you like kind of, seemed like this was the theme everyone kinda liked, so.
I think you're doing a fabulous job.
I kinda like it with this picture, cause I love this picture, but I know it's not. So, I think what we can do Friday is maybe look for the right picture
Yeah.
for it. Like if we did like the little red, the boy with the red,
Mhm.
you can almost make this like a red background and blend it
Mhm.
in, if that makes sense, but.
Okay,
So let me know if you wanna maybe email me if you wanna do the first Friday, and then we could hand out the flyers at that, or even the December first Friday, you could hand them out,
Mhm.
because that's when it'll be going on.
Yeah.
And that's
Mhm.
obviously a hugely attended.
And we can perhaps have, you know, several of the pieces matted and have them down at Gallery 22 and promote it down at Gallery 22 as well when people come through.
For the November first.
Yeah, for the
Friday.
November 1st Friday.
Also, I'd like to do something. We haven't done anything the whole year, which is kind of bad because it's now the cold weather. If we don't do anything a whole year, you lose kind of the connection also a little bit with the people.
Well, it might be a cold time, but it's actually really the busiest time for first Fridays, so.
Mhm.
But this
Yeah.
is so busy all year long, yeah.
So that's a thought, and I can email you the information, and if you wanna do like a sign up Genius and let me know who can do it, 'cause I can't do them by myself.
sure.
But I can help out in any way.
Elaine, at our last meeting, we had discussed, the possibility of gift options for the students when we return their artwork.
Right, and I talked with Rika over there at Sakata, she's my
Mhm.
contact, they're thinking the same thing we're thinking. We were talking about maybe doing like a small, like 4x6, picture of the, Arts Castle, and then a magnet. And they're thinking the same thing, something small, but just as an appreciation.
Wonderful, and Diane Trevellis, who had done the one photograph that the castle gifted to the city of, that she has given permission
Okay.
for us, I just have to have a formal written permission, but she is going to allow us to copy that print and use it,
That would be great.
so.
We could even have something written on the back.
Yes, attributing to its, from.
Okay.
Mhm.
So each student would get, you know, maybe a magnet, a pin, a city pin, and, the picture.
Mhm.
And that wouldn't be terribly heavy either to ship. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, is there any more discussion about Cicada that we can't postpone until Friday? Are there comments? Okay, well, thank you very much, and thank you for working on this and getting the art shipped and getting it here. That's, if you've been to some of our past meetings, this was a bit, I think we were a bit anxious sometimes. So the fact that it's been done is, I think, a big achievement. Because it's not like a visit where you actually go, you know you're gonna go. I mean, with the art exhibit, I think we were always wondering, is it actually going to happen? Because
Yeah.
it might not,
It was
it could
fine.
possibly not.
It's all good.
We've got the
But
art.
it's good now, and it's all here, so I really appreciate that, so thank you.
And at some later date, I will need to get in touch with you, Elaine, to find out all the product that's in the magic cupboard that would also be on
Oh, right.
display, that were gifts from the city to Delaware, that we can use on display too.
Okay.
Oh,
Is there an
yeah.
umbrella or something?
Yes.
Oh, there's this big,
Okay, I
yeah,
read
there's some
piece. I've
beautiful
heard of it.
things.
Actually, one of the artworks is of that.
Oh, right, yes, it is.
They made a picture.
Where's my umbrella? Is it in that closet? Okay. What'd you do with
It's
it?
in the archives.
It's
The
safe.
formal archives.
But that way, so I know
Is this
from a
thing
visual
on?
standpoint, what other pieces we have to include in the exhibit, so.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
Marvelous.
very much, and thank you, Diane and Paula, for coming this
Absolutely.
evening.
Julie, thanks again for
Let me
helping
know
me with
about
the
10 o'clock
inventory.
on Friday,
Absolutely,
that that's
Paula.
going to
Glad to
happen.
help.
If 10 o'clock Friday would be a good time for
Whatever
me.
time works for you.
I can't be there, I can be there by 10, but not earlier,
I'll have
much
to,
earlier.
I'll call in, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can work.
Okay, very good.
you can check that, and
I'm fine for me.
10 o'clock.
On Friday.
is that okay? Okay, well, let's work with
Where?
that.
Okay,
Here?
I'll just put a meeting invite out as a reminder.
sounds good.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, girls.
thank you. And thank you, Julie, for working on this too.
Sure, no problem.
So just very briefly about Ken Doman. This is a project that is being coordinated by Aaron Fletcher and the Ross Art Museum. So they're working on this with Dublin Arts Council, with the Columbus Museum of Art, and Gary DeCoker is excited about this too. And I think that he will help us through the, I can't think of the agency in New York that he's the executive director of, but they do sponsorship, and I think we'll get some sponsorship from them for this, and I'm excited about working on this.
And this is in 2021?
2021 is the expected time for this to come here, so. So I think that Tom and I were gonna discuss a little bit more about this and exactly where we were gonna go with sponsorship for this, because I think we had kind of a rough budget of maybe $100,000 overall for this. And I think Aaron had said that there were some, indications of people who were going to give us some significant sponsorship. So,
Well, we're gonna share that though with two other
with these other
cities.
organizations, yes.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
Dublin and Columbus, so.
It's not
gonna
just
be
on us.
Split three.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I was thinking it's up near 150, not one, but 100,000, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe the 100,000 was kind of a ballpark
Yeah.
idea. Okay. So any other comments about Ken Domon? Do you know much about this, Carolyn, yourself? Has Tom talked to you very much
Well,
about?
I mean, now it's coming. I've
I
been to
know,
the
but,
museum,
okay, okay. I didn't know if you wanted to say more about that, or, okay.
We're in the early stages.
Okay, excellent. So we'll move on then to item 5 here, update on La Hardane. And Julie, would you like to,
Sure. So, in July,
Take that.
the meeting that never was, we did have an attendee come and he was willing to speak. There may have been some coercion on my part, but, he came and interacted nicely with others. We continue to explore and further relationships with them. As you noted in your annual review, we have been there, actually there's a third group there right now, that's why Colleen's not in attendance today. She took a group of adults this time, earlier this year the gymnasts were there, and then in June, once school was released, we took a group of athletes, and toured Ireland and visited. William, as you noted, was here in February. You know, my conversations when we were in La Hardane in June, you know, it struck me as the amount of similarities, despite the disparity in the size. When you look at La Hardane, it is small, but when you look at Attergoole Parish, which is really all encompassing of kind of that area, and that's what the parish covers in terms of the diocese, and Attergoole Parish encompasses 5 or 6 different villages. You know, they have concerns about affordable housing. They have concerns about attracting businesses. They have concerns about infrastructure. The day before we arrived, they had done a community cleanup day. So similar to some of the projects that I know happen in and around Delaware, be it through Realtor Care Day that Carolyn and I participated in, or through, you know, Rotary Boy Scouts Adopt a Highway. They do all of those same things. And from a business standpoint, you know, attracting businesses, how do you bring them in? How do you keep them? So a lot of similarities and a lot of places where we overlap with concerns. So yeah, I mean, we continue to try to build that relationship and grow it and make it stronger, and you know, hopefully we can get to the point where we can make a formal decision to move forward in a sister city capacity with the area.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Do you think that we would expect to have more student kind of trips next spring, or?
I do know for 2020, we are looking at the wrestling team and possibly the football team, I believe. There were some talks about Gaelic football versus the American version. The athletes that went in June, we had cross country and track, soccer, what does Anna play? I want to say soccer again. So yeah, there were a few sports that were represented. But yeah, I think just as actual teams like the gymnastics team did, I believe wrestling and football are 2 that are on deck for next summer.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, shall we move on to Baumholder? Okay, so we had a busy year with Baumholder last September. I mean, we were there, they were here, and I really enjoyed our visit there. They are very hospitable. It's a great place to visit. I mean, people ask me, well, where is Baumholder? And I go, well, you know, it's really pretty much in the middle of nowhere. It's an army post, so they have a artillery range, so it's not gonna be maybe near a big city. So, but the presence of the army post there is really special. That is something really unique and really special. So, and Jay Martin's taking the Ohio Wesleyan soccer team there next summer. And it's the 30th anniversary of the first trip that he took, the first time he went with the team there. And I think they want to make a little bit of a kind of celebration in Baumholder about that. So I would like to go. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but my daughter's living in London now. So she's moved back to London from Poland. So probably I'll go over there every year, at least once. And I would like to talk to Jay a little bit about and see if he would like to have company, or people to go with him on that trip. So we don't have to talk about that now. We can talk about that some more in January. But Jay is planning to go over there next summer, so there will be some people from Delaware over there, and they're planning, apparently, as I hear from Burnt May, would like to come here in 2021 again, because it's the 10th anniversary of, I think, your visit, or did they come here first? I don't remember the history of that
We went there
exactly.
first.
Pardon?
We went there first.
Yeah, I think that was in 2011. So that's part of that. So I think there are things that we may be able to do with Baumholder a little bit.
I don't think we traveled in, I don't know when we traveled. I can't remember. Go ahead.
It's on the wall.
Yeah, it's on the wall up there. It's proof.
I think it might have been, we started this in 13, this committee, because we did the student exchange in that autumn of 2013. That's kind of how this committee first started, was to kind of be host for that. And so it was some time back then. So we have, there are some plans afoot to have people going and to Baumholder and coming here. So I think it's more a matter of seeing how really best to handle that. And if we, when they were here last year, that was a lot of work.
No.
That was a lot of work. I don't know how much we can do. I think it was very impressive last year because Mayor Alsvasser, for instance, had a great time. We gave them a good time.
Mhm.
We gave them a good time. And I think we can build on that, and I don't think we have to do anything so fancy. If they came here and stayed in our homes, like when we go there, that's a nice thing, to stay in their homes. I had really fantastic hospitality when I was there last year. So anyhow, we'll keep things going with Baumholder here and see what we can put together, okay?
Is there a more precise time in summer next year?
I'm not
Summer
real.
is 3 months.
I know, I'd have to check with Jay what exactly the timing of that is, so.
Well, would it be after school's out? Because they get out in May.
Yeah, I imagine that's when it would be. It would be like in June.
That's what I thought, okay.
That's what I'm thinking it is. It's in June, probably. So, I'll try to find that out. Okay, so. Any other comments about Baumholder for the time being? So. All right. So the next thing is a draft of the annual report, and I've already made a couple of little notes here of just minor additions. I wanted to put in here how many pieces of artwork there were, and so they got that, so that's good. I'm just gonna insert that in there. Are there other comments about the annual report?
Chairman Guber, I will be getting with you. We may need to look at having you present in November.
Okay,
So I'll get with you. We'll work on those dates,
Sure,
and then I
that's-
will let the committee know.
that's not a problem.
So, just with looking ahead at some agenda items, the next October meeting, or the meeting you were planning on coming, might be a little bit more busier, and so,
Sure, that's
But-
not a problem.
starting in November, we'll also have 2 new members of council, for sure, potentially 3, so, running with the election, so.
Mhm. Sure, that's fine.
So I'll get with you, and then I will notify everyone when that's happening.
Yeah, I'll talk to you a little bit about some, there are a couple little things in here that I wanted to, I don't know if you have any comments about it.
No.
If you do have any comments about this in the next week or so, let me know, because
will.
I'm gonna be making some a little touching it up before, and I'll send you another draft of it, okay? so. I was gonna read it, but I don't think I need to do that, do you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I know I have read it in the past, but I think we don't, we can skip that for the time being. So, okay, great. So the next item on the agenda is discussion of transition to 501c3 status. So, as we discovered since we last met, Tim Sword has left Columbus, Greater Columbus Sister Cities. I was surprised about that. I was surprised to hear it, but in retrospect now, I'm not so surprised that he left. So we met, Julie and Rita and I, we met the new director, and I meant to look on Google, on their website to see, I can't remember her name exactly. She gave me her card, but I can't remember her name, but they do have a new executive director now, who's a woman who has some quite a bit of corporate nonprofit experience. So I'm not real sure what direction she might take Greater Columbus Sister Cities in, so might find that out a little bit. And I see, I've also talked a bit with Bonnie Quist, who lives here in Delaware and who is a board member of Greater Columbus Sister Cities. So she had some very good insights, and we can definitely benefit from her knowledge and experience as we think about moving ahead. And I think we have to think about this because we have some more activities going on now, and I think if we want to think about expanding even our activities with the sister cities we have here, we should probably think about how we want to do that in the future, in what sort of way. And it's not, I thought it might, it's not as simple as I thought it would be at first. So I think that we need to talk some more with Bonnie and maybe some of our colleagues here in Worthington and maybe Dublin.
I was just gonna say, how did
about-
Dublin run it, their sister city?
I know, they were starting to form, I think they call it DFA, like Dublin Friendship Association, and similar to here, they had kind of a board. I think they were in the process of evaluating standing it up as a 501c3, and I believe the Worthington, is it Friendship Association? They might be one as well. And just internally, as we were talking with Tom and Elaine, just from a budgetary and fundraising standpoint, it sounded like it would be a good thing to explore, because even with our friends from the Arts Council or Arts Castle, you know, as a city, like purchasing certain items are a no-no, but also just, you know, can you hold events throughout the year? And I think Worthington Friendship Association will hold these dinners and gatherings, and they become kind of fundraising events for the program itself. But I'd be happy to reach back out to Dublin and kind of poke around and see what they're doing now.
Yeah, I would be happy to go and talk to somebody there, go have lunch with somebody and talk about that a little bit. Because I would like to see how we can advance our activities a little bit. So, and Bonnie has a lot of good perspective on all this, because she went through the separation of Greater Columbus Sister Cities from the city of Columbus. So she went through that whole process, and that was their idea to raise money. But then that became, I know that became a big challenge for them, just the fundraising, you know, thing, because, and they had full-time employees to actually do this. We probably wouldn't have that. So that's one of the things we have to be practical about what we can do, and probably just working with some of our other sort of Worthington, Dublin colleagues would probably be really helpful. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay. If you know somebody, maybe you could just give
Yeah,
me their,
I can reach out to
reach
Dublin.
out to them, and I
Mhm.
can call them or something.
Yep, and Worthington. I think we met with Worthington's. I think one of the people was in their clerk's office, But somehow I got on their email chain, and so I started getting these like monthly, they were kind of like worldly meals where they were highlighting a different country. So it wasn't just the sister cities or friendship cities that they were involved with, but it was kind of like just a global appreciation for cultures. But again, I think it also functioned as like a fundraising mechanism.
Okay. Okay, I mean, one of the things you always have to be, I think, aware of is that this is a Delaware City activity. And if you had been at this luncheon of Greater Columbus Sister Cities, was that last week or 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
Mayor Ginther was really put on the spot. They had this big Ghanaian ceremony to make him a member of their tribe.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
my, it was really something.
They were in full.
Full regalia. They had a medicine man. They had
We took pictures.
people bowing. I mean, it was really something. You would have loved it.
Oh, yeah. Come go over to DC.
You would be glad. I mean, Mayor Ginther, I had to give him credit for hanging in there on that ceremony. I don't know if I could have kept a straight face during that whole thing.
At one point, they had him stand up and sit down and stand up and sit. They took his hands and made him go up. It was, and then they had a machete at one point. They had
Oh, they have all this
Oh.
regalia.
yeah, hold on, let me
Yeah.
see. I'll get pictures.
Also the scary part for me was the medicine man.
Mm.
And that's why I thought it's, in one way it's international, it's a good thing, but on the other side, it can be also a open door for things you don't want to attract either. And so, that was the scary part.
These are ladies from Nigeria.
Oh.
We got our picture with.
Yeah. I had some pictures on Facebook too.
It was a very impressive,
Sort of like your umbrella.
very impressive ceremony.
They were, yeah, let's see if
So-
there's anything there. There he is. Oh my.
That'll make you
It was-
think about having a sister city in Ghana.
That was Nigeria.
It's very colorful.
Okay.
Is it Ghana or Nigeria?
It was Ghana.
Ghana.
I mean, it was great. I mean, we met a bunch of people from Ghana there
Well,
before the.
Mayor Coleman was the one that started it.
Started it,
Right.
yeah.
Yes, and he
Yeah.
wanted a link with Africa before he left, and so this was the sister city that he brought on. So
Yeah.
it was and they gave him an award.
He got a shirt,
A
also
shirt.
a special chief shirt
Mhm.
they fabricated there.
Yeah, it was pretty spectacular.
It was.
So
They have, what, 10 sister cities?
they have 10.
10.
10.
And then they recognize one sister city from each year, right?
Right, they
Italy
try to
was the year
focus
before.
on one,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, they like us are a little bit dependent on Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State kind of underpins their sister city program, a bit like Ohio Wesleyan underpins ours a bit, or
Mhm.
they kind of provide a lot of international contact.
Okay.
So,
Ohio Wesleyan here is gonna do some kind of a scholarship for Hayes, for somebody from Paraguay to come here to go to school. And he
Oh.
promised to come back when they graduate, so
oh,
I thought that was kinda cool.
oh, that's very cool.
So we're working on more relationship with the schools too.
Okay, very good, very good. So, do we have any member comments for item 9 here? No?
No, I think we're good.
Okay, okay. And our next meeting will be January 14th. I think that's the second Tuesday in January, right? So, all right. Well, I think we may be finished. So we could adjourn.
Okay.
Right on time.
Very good,
Couple minutes to spare.
very good, very good.
Are we done?
I think so, yeah.
I move we adjourn.